Let's begin.
Crikey!
Hey!
Howdy.
Hey!
All right, I'm Jeremy Garcia.
Dan Beck,
Harry Miller. Stephen Gillum.
or Wages of Sin.
And we are talking about reviewing, Mad Max Fury Road.
So I exist in this wasteland, hunted by scavengers.
What are you doing? Praying. To who? Anyone that's listening.
So you went and saw this opening night, 7:30.
Well, it was the day before, the night before it came out.
The night before, Thursday, we were there.
Like one of the
first
first
ones in
shows.
line. Camping out for weeks.
We were the first ones in the theater, weren't we? 2 other people in
We
front
were
of
the
us?
first ones in the theater.
I was excited.
Yep.
We had the week prior, we'd watched the
Trilogy.
yeah,
Marathon.
Mad Max 2 and Beyond
Yep.
Thunder.
Pizza and sugar
Yeah.
and beer.
Yes, and it was quite awesome.
It was.
It was we just back to back Mad Max Road Warrior Thunderdome, the way it was meant to be seen.
Gauged all the way through to the very end.
Yeah, we made it
Yes.
through the first one, and then we were excited to watch the second tier.
Yeah, and then
And Thunderdome.
so we're not here to review those though. We're here to give our opinions on
Mad
Fury
Max
Road.
Road.
And anyone want to start? Who wants to start?
I'll tell you what I liked.
Go for it.
My tongue, I mean, of course, I liked it because it was a Mad Max movie and it was pretty awesome. My favorite part or idea was that there was the 3 leaders. There was the, Joe was in charge of the Citadel, and then there was the guy in charge of Gastown and guy in charge of Bullet Town.
Yeah, I
And
thought
I don't
that
know
was
if they
cool.
were true brothers, but they were basically the 3 heads, and they all kind of came together to.
And-
I thought that was pretty awesome.
I didn't even. I mean, once when looking back on it, of course that's how it was. But I just didn't think of that when I originally. That my mind wasn't as I was watching the movie. Wasn't thinking, oh, 3 towns. These are the 3 leaders. I was just thinking, Immortan Joe, and he's just called some friends in. I wasn't really paying
And the
attention.
Gastown leader was this big, fat, bloated punk who was a businessman, basically, and then Bullet Town guy was his.
He had like a
head to toe.
samurai outfit.
Yeah, he was
made
awesome.
of bullets,
He
which
was
was
awesome.
awesome.
Well, the
So-
Gastown guy had these piercings.
He
And
did.
every time he got ready for action, he'd be
He's like
Yeah.
stroking
Well,
the nipples.
who doesn't do that?
it was
We were doing it right before we went to see the movie, so
Yeah,
we were
we
like, "Here comes Fury Road."
But
But
George Miller always seems to kind of throw those little things in there. His little details. They're just like, what just happened? What did I just watch?
and I was talking with you. I wonder. I'm guessing most of it comes from George Miller, but I'd like to think that actors going into it, he gives them a role, and they're like, George, what if I'm just stroking my nipples in this scene? Or what if can I wear this? Can I wear this egg crate? And he's like, go for it. Like, a part of me hopes that it's just like he doesn't give a crap, and it's just some stuff is just thrown together, like because that's how they feel, and rightly so. They feel it feels good that way. But
Pros, what did you like about it?
my favorite scene was the motorbike scene, the chase scene, where
So the entire movie.
basically, but when they're in the canyon and Furiosa and Max are kind of leading on defense against the biker wasteland people, shooting them off their bikes, and they're doing stunts over the rig as they're like throwing the bombs and stuff. I thought that was really cool. That was by far my favorite chase scene, I think. But I mean, out of every awesome chase scene in the film, that was my favorite. So, but
Damn.
I just like the car design, like of all of them.
I-
They were just like an amalgam of all kinds of different cars.
I was thinking, I was like,
mashed
if
into
the
one.
world ended right now and there was a nuclear holocaust and you'd have a whole bunch of Toyotas and Hondas and Nissans on the road.
yeah,
You wouldn't have like a 57 Chevy
Yeah.
on a monster
True.
truck.
But we're not in Australia.
Oh,
Put my Mini Cooper on the back of the Jeep here.
We're just gonna weld it to the top.
what was your favorite?
Man, it was start to beginning. It was just nonstop action.
It was great.
If I had to pick though, I mean, I like all the action when they're on the truck. I mean, like when they're inside the truck, I like how the truck design. They're
I
going
love the
from
design of the rig.
From
Yeah,
the back to the front, they're crawling around in little like compartments and stuff. It was like a little home,
Hey,
Yeah.
I have 2 words. Zoe Kravitz.
which I guess is Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
They're quick.
I mean,
Yes.
As
I
the
was
only
hoping
Kravitz
she
is
was-
on the planet.
yeah, she
But,
was an attractive lady, attractive wife.
One of my 5 wives.
But, I want to discuss something I wasn't completely on board with, and I already know probably what you're going to rate it, Steven, but was Tom Hardy as Max. I liked him, his look as Max. I thought that was good. The only thing I wasn't really behind was his voice.
In this wasteland, I am the one who runs from both the living and the dead. A man reduced to a single instinct. Survive.
I could detect a lot of Bane from Batman in there.
The mask at
And-
the beginning. I was like,
It was, well, I understand the mask, but it was his voice. It was what he chose to do with the character that I felt it was just too deep. I really wanted that. 2 days ago, I saw a vehicle that could hold that tank.
2 days ago, I saw a vehicle that would haul that tanker. You want to get out of here? You talk to me.
That's what I want. That's the voice. That's Max to me. And
yeah.
that and
You think the apocalypse is your ally?
I was waiting for him to say, why would you shoot a man if you're going to throw him out of a truck?
but I just felt like his voice was too deep, and I get where they were. And maybe this played into this Max in this version of the film is a little more insane as opposed to angry and selfish. I mean, he's still selfish, but and so maybe that came in. Tom Hardy does a lot of grunts and little like. Meh.
They tried to like add
weird.
emotion to it.
Yeah.
There were times like when he was reflecting on something that he had like there was a bit of compassion or something that went across his face that kind of took me out of it. Like
Well,
I didn't want to see that compassion.
I will say, as the only person here who has a child, I would see the loss of your child having a really horrible effect on
Well,
your
I'm
psyche.
I'm talking about like
So go ahead,
as it is compared to the other Maxes.
Yeah, he never had any kind of wacky flashback
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Those kind of.
Hallucination
Yeah.
type things. Yeah.
Or the original Mad Max, Mel Gibson Mad Max. His was angry mad, like you're saying. This one felt more like he was mad, like going out of his
Insane
mind.
mad.
He was just
Yeah,
upset.
going
He's out there
insane.
so long.
And
But
perturbed.
the flashbacks, you mentioned like he keeps having these flashbacks, and you think it looks like maybe his wife and child, and there's like some of them are even older people. It was like I was reading online. It was all the people that he'd come across and either couldn't help or had failed, and
Yeah.
it was all those that just haunted him. All those people from the wasteland were just bombarding him. And he would go through like you're saying, like moments where it was all like him, and he'd kind of like go through a moment of clarity, like maybe I should help out, maybe I shouldn't try to do this alone.
And
But I mean, like with the other, as compared to the other Mad Max characters, it's like instead of having that compassion, like in the other ones, it just seemed like you just do. It's like this is what we got to do to get out, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
He doesn't reflect on it; he just acts on it.
yeah.
And there was more reflection. You could see the character reflect in that.
Also, this is again my personal preference. I think George Miller in both the Mad Max and Road Warrior created one of the coolest vehicles in cinematic history, which is the V8 Interceptor.
People.
And he
People.
keeps destroying it in every film, and I'm like, why? And I know as a filmmaker it'd be one of those things where I would be too in love with my creation to destroy it. I would be like, no, I can't destroy the V8 because it's awesome. But I want to see it on screen. And there's even a scene in the last chase scene where you think for a second maybe
very
Max
close.
is about to take hold of his Interceptor and gonna wreck shop with it.
And I think that's where George Miller plays with the audience.
He does,
You're like,
but
He
yes,
said
he's
Jeremy
gonna take it
Garcia is
back.
watching this.
and I'm like, yes, and then I go, damn it, George. So
Here's my story that I impose on that. George Miller has an Interceptor at his house. That's his prize collection, right? And any movie that they make, he wants to destroy it so nobody else has one. That's it. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I like to think happens.
You weren't even 3 minutes, like spoiler alert, 3 minutes in, the first time we see the Interceptor, it's like, oh look, there it goes, it's an awesome chase.
I mean, the first hit it takes, it's like end over end. It's a cool shot, but it's like, no, the Interceptor, no.
You're thinking maybe like, well, that's all we get to see of that.
Yeah.
But it does have a comeback.
Yeah,
They're like characters. The cars were like characters.
they are, yeah. And
It's
that
like
was
you
just
see,
one of the
like,
great things
the
that George
spiky
Miller
cars,
does.
like, oh, here's
There's
some
like
vehicles.
the guitar, car,
Yeah,
drum, the
that
music.
was awesome.
Yeah. coming, we're
That's
coming
what
to
you
get you,
need.
sounding the war drums.
Did that guy-
They were actually war drums.
Was he missing his face?
He had a,
He
had
was-
kind of a Silent Hill.
He was like blind. He had like skin that was over his eyes and just the mouth or something. Yeah.
There's a lot like where the others had more of like, and people were off on like having it rough. These were like almost kind of mutants and stuff.
Yeah.
They had, I
Yeah.
guess the nuclear and all that had
Well,
taken effect.
that's kind of like what they're talking about with why he has those wives and he's trying to have a kid,
Yeah.
like a perfect one, because all the others, I guess, were
The
mutants.
wives were not bad.
Yeah.
So, real quick, what do we score this?
Start with me.
Start with
You're
you.
on the left.
This is probably my favorite movie so far of the 2015. I give it 5 Mother's Milks. Once you see the movie, you'll understand that reference.
All right, Eric.
I will give it 5 wives. I really enjoyed it. It kept it going, and I'm glad there's going to be apparently 2 more.
Apparently,
this.
Tom Hardy is apparently signed on for a couple more features. So, hopefully, we should be seeing a lot more Mad Max. And it doesn't take George Miller 10 years to make the next one.
Yeah.
So, Dan.
I'm gonna give it 4 of those sticks with bombs on them, the spear bombs.
And now I have to look up that graphic.
We can get Lil Gil to that for us.
I mean,
Will
but-
Gil.
Lil Gil, get that graphic going,
It's like
buddy.
a-
Oi, who runs Wages of Sin? I run Wages of Sin. And I'll also look up those graphics for you.
All right.
What do you rate it?
I'm gonna give it 4 Mad Max sawed-off shotguns, and I give it 4 because there was not much Mad Max using his sawed-off shotgun.
They tease you with it though.
They tease
Like,
me
here
with
we
it,
go.
and I'm like, again, like with the Interceptor, the shotgun and the Interceptor are my 2 favorite things from that universe that belong to Max. And George Miller hates me and doesn't want me to see Max use them. So, but overall, still a fantastic movie. I agree with you. I think it's my favorite film so far, 2015. Definitely worth a watch, especially if you're a Mad Max fan. Hopefully you've seen it
Hopefully it'll
already.
bring in the new generation of those who have not seen the first 3. Will say, hey, this is great. Let me go watch those.
Yeah.
But
Before breaking, we have to mention Charlize Theron as Furiosa.
Yeah.
she was, I thought she was
Furiosa.
fantastic.
Yes.
Furiosa, Imperator,
Imperator,
Furiosa.
I guess, is like a title,
It's a title
like for the.
High up.
for the drivers, for the rig drivers, or anything like
Trusted
that.
companions. I liked her lack of left forearm, and not only was it not there, it was not like it didn't function. It was basically just a whole bunch of tools that was like in a hand shape.
I like how she could remove it as well.
Yeah, but she
And,
couldn't-
leave
she
it
couldn't,
clamped
like,
somewhere
grab.
and just
Yeah.
grab. Yeah.
On the truck on the outside, like where your arm would hang, there was a skeleton arm.
Yeah.
Pointing.
That was kind of cool. But you mentioned like favorite scene. That was my favorite scene when her and Max had a fight. I thought that was awesome.
That was a great scene. Great
Yeah.
fight scene.
I was a fan of when he walked, carrying the guy on one shoulder, dragging the door, and he kind of walks towards the rig and comes around the side, and lo and behold, there's a great surprise.
Yep.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud
You
in
lolled?
the theater. Yeah, I lolled in the theater when that scene opened.
You did
He's like
chuckle.
walking him on his shoulder.
It was a good shot.
Well, that concludes our review for Fury Road. Mad Max. Fury
Go
Road.
see it.
Go see it.
Hit our subscribe buttons.
See it
Tell
twice.
him Wages of Sin say yeah.
Subscribe buttons anywhere around here. Hit them up, and
And just walk away.
we'll see you next time.
Subscribe to Wages of Sin, and I will give you safe passage through the wasteland.